I did like 19 original sculptures this big that hung on the wall, 19 of them in less than 6 months. I thought, there's gotta be a better. I mean, that was labor intensive, killer labor intensive. And they blew up. They blew up in the kiln. I dropped them. It was a mess. But anyway, the ones that survived are up there and they look beautiful, and it gave me a lot of ideas to go further with that sort of concept. And the 2 catalog companies that I mentioned before, they took the idea and ran with it, and they have me doing beautiful wall art pieces. And these pieces have been sent to China, and they're in mass production. But not everybody can afford a $5,000 or $15,000 original wall art sculpture. Now, I have sold them to people in Palm Beach, but most people can't afford that, and that's okay, because these reproductions that came back from China they're dead on. They're real. Every now and then there's like a foot that's messed up or an ear that got filed off, but you know, what are you gonna do? The pottery obviously starts on the wheel if it's a vessel. If it's not a vessel, if it's more of a pedestal, that one, I have a square, rectangles, squares. I push the clay in a press mold. And the reason I don't just hand build it is because it's gotta be, the sides really have to be bonded. And the best way you can do that is just by smashing the clay and really kneading it in all the corners. And then you let it sort of dry for a couple days in the mold, and then you take it out, and then you've got something much stronger that can hold up to the abuse of putting a full figure horse on the pedestal or the overturned bowl or whatever I use. The pots start on a wheel, and after they're trimmed, after they're leather hard, it's when the clay isn't sticky, it's got some substance to it, and it can hold up. And when the bowl is leather hard, that's when I'll sculpt a horse head. Everything is hollow, and that's difficult to show you. I sit there with it in my lap and I sculpt onto the bowl. It's not easy, and it's not easy to really show you an example without it being a wet piece. If it's a really big piece, I can't do that. And I do all of the sculpture in my lap first. I don't really put it on a table. I kind of cuddle up with it so I can flop it around. And if it's on a hard surface, I ended up with dents and things. So I prefer to work in my lap or on the floor. And the wall art is the same way. The wall art, the really big pieces, often I can support it better by sitting on the floor and cradling it in my legs, because I have to work from the inside out. I can't, when I do the fine work, the detail work, all the little nuances with the tools and everything, that's when it can go on a table. And then I can hover over it, and I can really see what I did. Because when it's in my lap, I really can't see what it's gonna really, really look like. But it's very crucial to get the gesture in it and get it when you can't wreck it. The most important thing about sculpture is the gesture, and you can certainly sacrifice correct anatomy in order to get something that people are going to see and go ooh and ah at. And if you worry too much about every little thing being correct, your piece gets stale, very stale.